All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start by giving our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. This is Ratazah from the Great Millstone GMS Atlanta Camp with another quick video. All right, in this video, I'm going to be covering Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, which actually was a request that I received on my comment board under the video I did maybe a month or two ago, covering Ezekiel 38, in basically like the latter half of the chapter. All right, and a brother, I perceived to be a brother, asked, if I could do Ezekiel 39. So it's, I was just reading through it, and I just figured I just put it on wax and cover it. This is like it's a continuation of Ezekiel 38, dealing with the Russians and these different nations joining together, basically to come against the land of Israel over there in the Middle East, the Holy Land, as well as coming against America. All right, and it's coming third world's war. All right, with thermonuclear fire, missiles, and all of that. And this is what the Most High has intended. This is what He's spoken and written through the scribes and prophets, man. All right, so I'm just go through this chapter, Lord willing, to be edifying. All right, so without further ado, Ezekiel 39:1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, which prior, in the prior chapter, we understand Gog and Magog is dealing with the Russians, who are indeed Edomites. All right, so-called white people. So remember, this is a prophecy against them. All right, this is against the Russians, even though the Lord is going to use them to come against America and to destroy certain parts of the earth. Essentially, this is still a prophecy against them. When you read the following verses, it's going to show why the Lord is prophesying against them. It says, therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts. And this basically means the Lord's going to bring the Russians from that area, that northern area. All right, He's going to bring them forth out of their quarters. It says it will bring them upon the mountains of Israel, meaning the governments of Israel, which is talking about literally the land of Israel in the Middle East today, which is being governed and controlled by heathens. And it details that in the book of, also in Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, I believe, where it names the Edomites by name, the Idumeans, that have taken the land into their possessions. All right, taking it into their control, man. So that land is being overran, is being defiled by heathen nations, which would justify the Lord to destroy it, because that land has to be cleansed. All right. So verse 3, it says, and I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand. This is speaking about the Russians, all right, Gog and Magog. The Lord said, I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand. In other words, the bow represents, and the arrow represents the thermonuclear missiles. All right. So essentially, the Lord is going to disarm these nations. All right, not only Russia, but the band of nations that's linked with Russia. They're going to all be disarmed. All right, their embassies and their forts and stations where they have their nuclear missiles set up and stashed, that all of that's going to be destroyed. All right, and they're going to be disarmed, because the mind frame of these nations, Russia and China, think they're going to rule this earth next. They think they're the next world superpowers after World War III, and America is wiped off the map. These nations think they're going to rule next. Now, knowing that all of them are going to be destroyed, none of these nations are going to come out prosperous after this war. All of them are going to fail and be disarmed and be made desolate and be destroyed and be prepared for slavery, man. That's why you read Second Ezra's 16:1. It says what? War unto the Babylon, Egypt. Then it says what? War unto the Asia, which is the so-called Chinese. All right, so you Asians, you so-called Chinese, you so-called Russians, which you're basically Edomites, more likely from a certain tribe because you got a different spirit than the American Edomite. All of you gonna be destroyed, and all your weaponry is gonna be disarmed because it served its purpose. All right. So after that, that's it. Verse 4: Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Which links with what we're going through currently in our camp, the book of Joel, primarily the third chapter. All right. Basically, that whole Middle Eastern area, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and all that, that's just a bed of judgment, man. So you over there, you fighting these different wars. You got your troops over there. All of them are going to be destroyed and basically put to death. And just like America, how America's going to be a desert and you're going to have unclean beasts and unclean birds, feasting on the flesh that's going to be left here. It's going to be the same thing in the Middle East. All right, the land of Israel is going to be nuked. You're going to have people there, bodies piled up. All right, birds going to be similar to America. Only difference is America is not going to be inhabited no more, pursuant to Isaiah 13, latter part of the chapter. But the land of Israel is going to be reestablished and cleaned up, which is going to go into that in these following verses. So you Russians and the people, the nations, the armies that's with you, your ass is going down too. That's why I said, it says what? Prophesy against Gog. So this is a prophecy against you. All right. This is not a thing where the Russians are going to come out prosperous and we got to basically, Vladimir Putin is going to be the next ruler of the earth. No, his ass is going to slavery, man. All right. Verse 5, thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord power. Verse 6, and I will send a fire on Magog and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am the Lord. 7, and I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and will not let them pollute my holy name anymore, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord and the Holy One of Israel. When you read Psalms 9 and 16, all right, which I'm not going to get it, you can read it on your own, but it says basically the Lord is known through judgment, all right? That's how the Lord's name, how he got his fame, all right? Al-Shaja, terrible demon-like power, man. That name used to ring bells in the earth. How Jake say in the streets, there's a bit, whatever they put in work, you hear their name ring bells. It struck fear in your heart when you hear a certain name. Well, that's the name of the Most High Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shai is going to have that same effect in the earth, even on a massive scale. All right? You read the book of Jonah, when they're trying to figure out why the hell the ship is about to damn sink and the Lord brought the storm. When the lot fell on Jonah to see why this was so, he said, look, I'm a Hebrew, and I serve the God of heaven and earth. And it's like, oh hell nah, bro. You gotta get up out of here. You serve the Most High Yahweh. Talking about the Most High Al-Shaja that brought the flood. Oh nah, bro. You gotta get up out of here. You gonna get everybody goddamn killed, man. See, because the Lord name was ringing bells, man. So the same thing, it's gonna be the same thing on this time on a way bigger scale, man. Verse 8, behold, it is come and it is done, said the Lord power. This is the day whereof I have spoken. All right. What is the day of the Lord? This essentially is talking about the day of the Lord. What does the day of the Lord consist of, and what did he speak? The day of the Lord is what? Darkness, gloominess. All right. A day of evil, distress. All right. A day of desolation and wasteness. Okay, that's what's coming, man. Verse 9, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth and shall set on fire and burn the weapons. You see? So like I said, the weapons are going to be disarmed and they're going to be put to no use because they serve their purpose pursuant to Isaiah 54 and 17 or 16 rather. All right, either 15 or 16 or 17. Isaiah 54, where the Lord said he created the smith that blow the coal in the fire to bring up an instrument forth for his work. All right, roughly paraphrasing. So the Lord used these engineers, used Esau, Edom to create these weapons really for his will, to bring to pass his will, man, to destroy America and certain parts of the earth in certain countries. So it says what? They shall burn the weapons. It says both shields and bucklers and bows and arrows and the hand staffs and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years. And when it speaks of them, this is actually talking about after the elect. All right, the 144,000 men of Israel, they're going to have those new bodies, spiritual power. All right, they're going to be basically likened into superhuman beings. And I say we because we're of that hopeful elect, of that hopeful number. We're going to have those spiritual bodies and spiritual capabilities to where we're going to go around. Yahweh Shah is going to give the orders for us to go around the earth and burn these weapons up with the power. The proof of that is in the following verse 10. So that they, meaning these men, this is because it speaks about those that dwell in Israel. All right. It says verse 10, so they shall take no wood, all right, out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest. So to burn these weapons and to kindle the fire, it's not going to take, go out to the woods and get such amount of lumber and logs so we could kindle this fire to burn these weapons that these heathens left behind. No, we're not going to use that. All right, we're not going to use the woods and trees to kill this fire. We're going to use the fire from our hands, man. Spiritual power. See, it says, "For they shall burn." Reading verse 10, "For they shall burn the weapons with fire." But we just read it. It's not going to take wood and trees out the forest to make this fire happen. We're going to send the fire from my hands. Spiritual power. For they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoil them, and rob those that rob them, saith the Most High, saith the Lord power. Right, so the nations that spoiled our people, that robbed our people, stole the riches and all of that, we're gonna get it back. All right. Verse 11, it says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place thereof graves in Israel, in a valley of passengers on the east of the sea, and it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Haman Gog." So yeah, it's going to be a mass burial because of the high casualty rate, the high amount of dead bodies that are going to be left around, just piled up. And this is speaking of the Middle East, because America is going to be dead bodies here, but that's going to be left for the fowls of heaven to feast on, because America is not going to be stepped on again after the destruction. But the Middle East has to be cleaned up, because that's going to be pretty much the headquarters of the kingdom. Right, the headquarters of the capital of the kingdom is going to be in that land. All right, those 12 gates are going to be built. That's talking about in that area. So there's going to be a large burial, and this links with matter of fact, let me read verse 12. It says, in the 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. All right, so the land has to be cleansed, which links with Numbers 35. And matter of fact, let's just get that. Because as I mentioned, the land is inhabited by heathens. So how's that land going to be cleansed? It has to be cleansed by bloodshed. All right, because those heathens that's there, they obtain that land through bloodshed, through thievery and robbery and murder. So they got to be destroyed, and that land is going to be cleansed through the spilling of their blood, man. Numbers 30 is it? Damn, Numbers 35 and 30, right? Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. See that? So the land is going to be cleansed by the blood of him that shed it, which is who? These Edomites. All right. So the Edomites that's dead, they're going to be dropping dead. All right. They're going to, like I said, the high amount of casualties. That's going to cleanse the land, and those bodies got to be buried, man. Now, who's going to do the burying? It ain't going to be us. It's not going to be the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, we ain't going to be out there with shovels and digging. It's going to tell you, going back to Ezekiel 39. All right, I think it was verse 11 or 12. I think this one we're going to put these nations to work. Ezekiel 39 and 12 again, which, and also just a footnote in verse 11 when it says the valley of Haman Gog. That's basically like a burial, like a site of burials. All right, so there's gonna be a particular place where these bodies gotta be stashed, man. All right, like a burial land, which is going to cleanse the land, which it says in verse 12. In the 7 months, which again 7 represents completion, shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. 13. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown, the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Most High. Now, verse 14, this is the proof that we're technically not going to do the burying. It's just when it says they shall bury, meaning where, of the hopeful elect that have that authority are going to be giving the orders out to bury these bodies after the destruction. Verse 14, and they, meaning the house of Israel, shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land, excuse me, to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it after the end of 7 months shall they search, which again is 7 months is a complete amount of time. So we're gonna give out employment, man. We're gonna give out tasks and duties to the people that remain, because not everybody is going to be destroyed in the Third World War. There's going to be people still remaining on the earth, people still around. And what are they going to be what are they going to be there for? They're going to be there to bury these bodies, starting with the super rich elite, because prior to that, pursuing the Amos 9 and 2, the elect are going to be bringing the super. Actually, let's get that. Amos 9 and 2. All right. It says, though they dig into hell, they speaking of the super elite, the rich elite that know about the prophecies, know the end of the world is coming. So they're going to try to hide in these bunkers. They're going to try to hide from the destruction, which they are. The Most High is going to allow them to escape, not because they're part of the elect and they're going to receive they're being preserved to get their monkey ass thrown into slavery, man, to bury these bodies that we're reading about in Ezekiel 39. So it says what? Though they dig into hell, meaning dig into the earth, these underground bunkers, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up into heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide in the top of Carmel, which is, I believe, is a mountain, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. So you're not going to be able to hide from Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You're going to be eventually found, captured, all right, brought before Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and you're going to be put to work. All right, you're going to be what? Given, we're going to sever out men of continual employment. Going back to Ezekiel 39 and 14, it says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment. There's going to be a lot of work to be done to establish the kingdom. All right, to cleanse the earth, to put things back in order, to build. You ain't going to never have to worry about being unemployed. How, you know how Jake now is struggling to get a job and unemployment. Trust me, in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to be plenty of work to do, man, for you damn heathens. All right? It says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it after the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth a man's bone, meaning a man's body, then shall he set up a sign by it till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamongog. Which, like, what comes to mind when you watch a cop show or whatever, when they investigating a homicide and they try to find the killer, and they have the crime scene, and they got the little signs by the evidence, right? Or this is where he died at. Let's put a car with the one on it. Okay, here's the gun that he used. This is evidence 2. This is the gloves that he wore. This is 3. They had the little yellow sign, the little yellow post by each evidence. That's going similar to that. All right, whatever it is, a dead body that needs to be buried, there's going to be a sign or like a post or a flag put there to let you know, look, this is a body that needs to be buried so the land could be cleansed. And just to reiterate, to go back, this is not going to be done by the elect. All right. This is when we're going to put you heathens to work, starting with you elite nations. All right, you're the elite of these nations, man. 16, all right, got a few more verses to go. It says, also the name of the city shall be Hamanah or Hamanah. Thus shall they cleanse the land. All right, the land of Israel, that whole Middle Eastern region has to be cleansed, man. All right, all the filth, idolatry, and wickedness that has been, carried out throughout the years, all of that's going to be washed up. 17, and thou, son of man, thus saith the Lord power, speak unto every feathered fowl, and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Right? This is going to be a sacrifice. This is a sacrifice that the Most High is preparing in that region. All right, and when that sacrifice is offered up, all right, we're gonna reap the benefits. And it tells you in the next verse 18, ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, of goats, and of bullocks, and of all the fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken of my sacrifice, which I sacrificed for you. Right? We're going to reap the benefits of the Most High's judgment, because he is all against these heathen nations. 20, thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men and with men of war, said the Lord power. Right? The Lord's going to establish us as a people. We're going to have all these things which the Most High took away at one point. When you read Isaiah 3, the Lord took away the stand and staff, the men of war. Man, fellas, get that. All right, the Lord going to put all that back, give all that back to our people, man. Isaiah 3:1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread, the whole stay of water, the mighty man. Right, we read the Lord gonna give us the that warrior, the man of war. It says, in the man of war, the judge, the prophet, the prudent, the ancient, the captain of the 50, the honorable man, and the counselor, the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be a princes, and babes shall rule over them. Right? So we were stripped. We were made, made nothing. But when it's all said and done, the Lord's going to restore all these things back, man, through this sacrifice. Going back, Ezekiel 39 and 20. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, which is synonymous with power. All right, horses and chariots represent power, authority, with mighty men, and with all men of war, save the Most High. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, in my hand that I have laid upon them. See that? Essentially, the Lord's glory is his people, the elect. All right, because we're the Most High's woman. And the scriptures say that the glory of a man is his woman, roughly paraphrasing 1 Corinthians chapter 11. We're like that's the Most High's glory. It's his people. So the Lord's is gonna elevate us, man. See? And it says what? And it says, all the heathen shall see my judgment that I've executed in my hand that I have laid upon them. The Lord's hand is talking about Yahushua. They're going to see him too. He's going to be the first to be exalted and raised up. 22. So the house of Israel shall know that I am the Lord, their God or power from that day and forward. It's going to be stamped without a shadow of a doubt. The Most High is God of our people. 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespass against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. Right, we went off as a people, broke the Lord's statutes, commandments, and we were subject to the curses. All right, and we had to endure that, man. 24. According to their uncleanness, and according to their transgressions have I done it to them, and hid my face from them. Right? Yeah, uncleanness. We went a whoring. All right, serving and worshiping these other gods and idols, getting snared into these other philosophies and forsaking the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Because like I said, we was liking it to his woman or his wife. So we cheated on the Most High, man. All right. We was in a committed relationship. We was down with the Lord. We was doing it, but then we went off and sought out other lovers, man. So we was deemed unclean. So the Most High punished us. But now it says what? 25. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power. Now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, which is you Israelites, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. So even though we basically did the Heavenly Father wrong by going a whoring and worshiping these other gods and idols and so forth, the Most High, he's going to take us back in. All right, he's going to give us another chance, so to speak. It's 26. It says, after that they have borne their shame and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid, when I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations, then shall they know that I am the Lord their power. So the Lord's gonna He's gonna restore us and bring us back to our land because we're dwelling in the enemy's land, which is a proof that the Israelites are not supposed to be in that land. This is another prophecy to show that the Israelites or the so called Jew in Israel right now is not the true Jew. All right, according to prophecy, the Lord's going to gather us from the land of our enemies. We're supposed to the Israelites, according to the storyline and the narrative, they're supposed to be in captivity. They're supposed to be suffering, oppressed, don't got a goddamn thing, don't know where their land is at, lost. And what? The Lord's going to save them and put them back. That's the story of the Bible, man. The Israelites being delivered and put back in a rightful land in a rightful position. 27 again, when I have brought them again from the people, meaning these nations, and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of my nation, in the sight of many nations, excuse me, then shall they know that I am the Lord their power, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them anymore there, which hasn't happened yet. This is a future prophecy. This has not taken place on the earth yet. All right. 29, finish off. Neither will I hide my face anymore from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Lord power. Right, because we're going to be, we're going to be one with the Most High in the kingdom. All right, we have those new bodies, and the basically the new covenant is going to be running its course, where we're gonna be perfect. So the Lord's going to pour out His Spirit upon the whole house of Israel, because all the scriptures say, all thy people shall be righteous. All right, we're going to have the Spirit of the Most High fully dwelling with us, man, in pure righteousness and pure really just pure, just being pure in the spirit, man. All right, and this is a future prophecy that has not come to pass yet, but it's going to take that land to be cleansed over there, the land of Israel to be cleansed. Is going to be like I said, a high amount of casualties, death, destruction. All right, and we're going to issue out the continuing employment to you nations, starting with you super rich elite. All right, such as your Rothschilds, DuPonts, Gettys, so forth and so on. You got to bury those bodies and grab them goddamn shovels with those 90-year-old, 100-year-old bodies, man. Because you're not going to get new bodies like the elect. You're going to have to work, all right, with your 12 heart transplants and your 50 hip replace, whatever the hell you got going on. You got to figure it out. Okay, that's the time that's coming, man. So I just want to hit this chapter, all right. Lord willing, this was a edifying video, all right. Giving our praise and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, and Lord willing to the next lesson. Shalom.